Can we edit your footage with Final Cut or Premiere?
In order to edit the footage from the Acam D2, you need to develop it. So you need to have some kind of tool to translate it to the codec you use for editing. I don't think yet it's suitable to edit in RAW format, and you shouldn't you don't need to edit in high definition. What you do is you make two copies, one high definition and one low definition, low resolution, that is easily edited, and then you put it together in compositing. So by the end of the year, all major codecs will support our format, which is Cinema dII, invented by Adobe and used with Avid and Iridus and a lot of other amazing software that could, we can actually see raw footage in real time and adjust the colors in real time in an ordinary iMac. This was only, was so far away, but what's amazing with the technology moving forward is that the software and the hardware is working side by side. So you get slightly faster computer and slightly faster hardware, but the combination is amazing.
So for now we can't edit RAW with Final Cut?
For the moment you can't edit native RAW in Final Cut, but I'm sure you will be able in a very short while to do that.
If it is not native, you have to transcode, but in which format?
No, you don't have to transcode it, because what you can do is you can transcode it to a low resolution DV file or whatever file you choose, and then you can make an EDL or a sequence and connect to the raw file in a finishing tool.
But with which plugin?
DVX for Mac.
DVX for Mac?
Yes.
Okay, it's right. Okay.
And with DVX for Mac, you can also view the Cinema dII uncompressed RAW files in Finder with QuickTime. So you get previews and you can export it to any QuickTime format. It's an amazing tool.
Okay, so your camera shoots in 1080p, and why there is no 720p?
There's a very good reason, because we decided to use a CCD compared to a CMOS. And why we choose the CCD is because I think that it's a more organic feeling to the CCD. And I like the look of the CCD much more than the CMOS. I'm not saying that the CMOS isn't usable, it's a great tool, but we wanted the more, CCD is an analog sensor, and we wanted more analog feeling to it. So since it's analog, we can't pick another frame like in CMOS. So there's no way to pick out that kind of image. So you have to take all the CCD or nothing. So you can't choose while you have to.
So there is no rolling shutter and things like that in your
There is
camera?
no rolling shutter. There's a global shutter, and it's a conversion from analog to digital. So it's no. We could use the gain to put up the light, but we can't have those ASA marks that they could have on.
And what kind of viewfinder your camera uses?
Our camera uses an electronic viewfinder. A lot of people ask about a mirror reflex, but it's very hard to do. It takes a lot of place. The lenses get more expensive. There are all kind of issues around it, and you got moving parts inside the camera. You don't want to have moving parts. we have an electronic viewfinder that is VGA. It's 480 by 630.
How many pixels?
Sorry?
How many pixels?
640 by 480.
So it's
VGA.
500,000 pixels? Or when you
Yes.
use multiplication?
Yes.
And is it enough for focusing?
I love the viewfinder. I think it's like great because it looked great. And what we have in the camera is that if you hold it by here, you push this tiny button here, and that gives you a 1-to-1 pixel zoom. So you see an enlargement on pixel level. So you can adjust and check your focus while recording. And you can, if you take it to the other direction, you see a histogram, and then you could adjust the aperture and see if the exposure is right. And I love the viewfinder because what we wanted is that the viewfinder, some people, you know, in the beginning you find it anchored so that it goes out like this, but if you're used to work with old film cameras, this is no problem, and you get used to it really quick. So what we wanted is that you have this flat area here, that you really make it small. And if you want to make it small, you can't have a viewfinder sticking out like this, like a big thing. However, you could have an external viewfinder if you don't want to minimize it. But this is a ground setup for the camera, and we want it as slick, small, and light as possible. So I'm happy with the viewfinder.
So what about the sound?
The camera records sound on this small, tiny LEMO connector, and then you take this connector and to 2 XLR contacts. The reason we don't have XLR contacts on the camera itself is that there is no such space. Those contacts is made from the 50s or 60s or something, and they take more space than, I mean, just the LEMOs here. You can see this, the base here at the camera is just packed with different LEMOs contacts, and I think the contacts here is like 200 euros, just the contact. So contacts take so much space, and you don't want to, you know, if you go for XLR, you will have a huge problem. There is a line in and a mic in level.
We can check the level?
Yeah, you see the levels in the see if we have any. It's coming up. You can adjust the levels, and you see the levels, and even the boom operator can see the levels from the distance. And
but where do you fix the microphone? Is it possible to fix the microphone?
Yes. I mean, basically, I think what you should have is a sound device with a time code, with a synchronization, because I think that sound recorders, they are artists as well, so they should record whenever they want to record and then synchronize it in post. I think it was a huge leap backwards, huge step backwards, back when you only can record sound when you're really recording image. I think you should record sound when the sound is good and image when the image is good. So there is no use to record sound all the time, and there is no
So it's not possible to be completely independent. I mean, alone with a camera on a microphone.
Yes, there are.
It's not possible.
But, yeah, it's possible to be alone, but I think the best option is that you have a recorder that is connected, not connected to the camera, but connected in the same time code. And you could have a line in to mixer. I think that's the second best option. However, if you want to have a microphone attached to the camera, you can attach it here and just plug it in. And you can see the levels, like an example, going up and down here. So the boom operator could see those levels, and if the operator has a mixture. Sorry, I have to take this. Hej älskling. Hallå.